Hey, you passed your ham radio exam. What do you do now? Let's find that out and a lot more coming up on Ham Radio for Non-Techies. So you passed your ham exam and now you're just waiting to get that call sign. Well, what else can you do once you get it? Well, let's find out here. First of all, my name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL, and Ham Radio for Non-Techies is my channel. I wanted to show you guys a couple things today. And, when I first got done with my test and I passed, first I was just surprised. I was like, oh my God, I got this new thing I can do now. So I'm waiting on my call sign. And, they're going to send you an email. Whatever email you used on your form that you filled out to take your test, that's the email. It's not going to be attached to your call sign forever, ever, and ever. But if you want to go check out and see if your call sign has been issued yet, say something happened with the email, whatever, there are other ways of doing this. So let's pop over to my desktop real quick. So here we are on the FCC website, and I will have the links to this down below in the video. And you come up to this thing here, and over here, you'll see this little drop down for how to do a license search. So here you choose by FRN number. If you remember, you had to give your FRN when you filled out the paperwork to take your test. So if you still have a copy of that around, you can do a search by your FRN number. And if your call sign has been issued, it will show up when you do that search. That's the first thing you want to take care of. So the next thing is, what has the world of ham radio opened up to you? You have a lot of choices now. You have a lot of things you can get into, a lot of just rabbit holes, as I call them, to go down and be involved in so many different things in ham radio. Now, as a technician, granted, some things are limited, but if you decide to go further on and go up into general, a wider array of opportunities in ham radio will open up for you there. And if you go on to extra, of course, everything opens up. So, where do you start? Well, I spent the past week and a half using my digital marketing background, and I decided to build a website. So I'm proud to announce that there is now a Ham Radio for Non-Techies website, and you can go to hamradiofornontechies.com, and there's a complete site here ready to go. Now, I'm still working on a lot of things in this site. Granted, I've got quite a bit of information that I crammed in here in just 3 or 4 days, including all the graphics and everything else. It was a lot of work to do, but I designed a site for you guys, trying to think about when I was new, and I'm still new. I'm not trying to say like I've been around for years and years. I haven't. It's only been a few months, but I wanted to at least give you guys a place to go where you can find all the information you want to find out. And maybe you're somebody new looking into ham radio and you don't have no idea about what this is all about, and you want to find out what to do. I designed this site specifically for people like you and for existing hams. Now, if you've been in this for a while and you know a lot of stuff, this might be somewhat remedial for you, but there's a need for this type of information out there, and I wanted to make sure I crammed as much stuff into one space as I could. So let's go down the page here a little bit. I went down, I started out just talking about, if you've never heard about ham radio before and you want to get interested in it or thinking about taking the tests, I put down some information about the technician, general, and amateur extra tests and what they are. And then I have the different study guides. So the first section here is the study guides for getting your ham radio license. And this is one study guide here. There's another one here by the Gordon West series of books, which are excellent. Or you can go the traditional with the good old-fashioned ARRL ham radio license manuals. These are all great books. I give explanation of what each book is about, and you can actually purchase them right here by clicking on the image to purchase the books. Further down, we go into general. Same thing. We have 3 books that I recommend. One of the books that I use, the Gordon West books, which are highly recommended. If you've never read any of his stuff, he teaches a lot of good things in the books, and you'll learn a lot about the background and the hows and whys of ham radio. So moving on. We scroll down and we have now the amateur extra. And for those of you who decide you want to go that route, again, 3 books, same 3 authors, giving you guys some options there. Once you scroll down a little further, I show you some online resources that I used a lot when I was getting my licensing. So QRZ, as I mentioned before in my licensing video, QRZ.com, you can sign up for free and take exams. Hamexam.org, again, it's free. Sign up for a free account. You get to take practice tests on all 3 exams. They also have flashcards and the question pool. And then there's hamstudy.org, which you have to sign up for a free account to use that as well. But you have also practice tests in their way for all 3 exams. And they have a study mode, which was really, really cool to use. Going further down, I have links here for both Android and iOS apps for the Technician, General, and Extra practice tests for your phone. And these are great if you're on the go, you're not at home with all your stuff, you want to try to take a practice test, you know, just real quick and see what you do. Having these in there, they're free. Why not use them? It's a free resource, guys. So use that stuff. I have a couple more, little more information down here. There's some drop downs about just standard questions people ask when they first get their licenses or when they're looking to get a license. I have some recommended places to go get some ham radio gear. And then we talk about the different aspects just briefly on here. I'll expand on these further down the road. This kind of briefly shows you some other stuff you get into with ham radio, including DMR, a software-defined radio, VHF, UHF, of course, which you're going to be in already, HF radio, Wires X and System Fusion, APRS, Echolink, and it just goes on and on. If you go further down the page, I now have ham radio apps once you are licensed, whether it be technician or other, or, you know, whatever. I have extra apps here to put on your phone. You don't need all of them. Take a look at them, read the reviews, see if it's something you would use. I think the ones you probably get the most use out of would probably be the APRS Droid, Echolink, if you join either one of those, and the Repeater Book, and of course, RFinder. RFinder is awesome because it works with some of the Yaesu radios. Actually, some of the radio software out there, the programming software, RFinder will actually integrate in with it. So if you're taking a trip somewhere, you can tell it where you are and where you're going, and it will find all the repeaters along that route and give you a list of those to choose from to program into your radio so you're ready to go. Kind of cool. Amateur Radio Toolkit is free, but there's a paid version that gives you extra perks if you go in there about building antennas and different types of calculations and stuff. Really kind of cool. And of course, there's Scanner Radio and Scanner Radio Pro. The regular one is free, but you don't get as many things you do with the Pro version. If you're interested in looking into the emergency channels, listen to police, fire, and EMS. So that's what I got on that particular page. Of course, you'll have access to the ham radio for non-techie episodes, which are here on the channel. But if you're on the website and want to refer to something, I always have the videos. If I post a video on YouTube, it'll also be posted up here on the site. I went further on, and I did this yesterday, I think it was. I added in some ham radio suggestions. These are based on things that I've seen, based on reviews that other people have done about certain radios online. So when you're buying your first radio, what do you need to consider? What do you want to look for when you buy your first ham radio? You know, I don't know where you are, what your goals are for your interest in this hobby. You might just want to get an HT, call it done. You might want to get an HT in a mobile unit, call it done. You might want to go full blown and go HT, base unit, mobile unit, antennas all over your garage. Who knows? That is completely up to you to do and decide on. But I wanted to at least give you guys a primer because, again, I'm still learning a lot of this. These are primers based on very, very good information on some of the best radios out there. Hey, if you're getting good information, finding value in my videos, please consider giving me a thumbs up. This helps out with the YouTube algorithm and puts my video in front of other people that are interested in ham radio as well. If you would also please consider subscribing to this channel by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the little bell on the side there. That will notify you whenever new videos come up on this channel. Thank you very much. Now, I wanted to try to find a selection of radios within a very varying price range, but I put in the radios based on my favorite ones, the first 3 on the HTs. And the other 2 are if you really, really just cannot afford some of the higher end ones. You know, like I said, you really should try to save up and get some of the better radios. You'll be a lot happier with them down the road. But if you need to get on the radio now, you just want to have something, the 2 on the end are options as well. Scrolling down, I go into mobile radio pros and cons, and I have 4 or 5 radios here for you to check out and, you know, do your own research. I said before, or actually it's on the site here, if you're looking for your first radio, find one of these retailers, give them a call. They're willing to talk to you. They're fellow ham radio operators just like you are, and they'll be more than willing to help you decide on, based on what your needs are and what you want to do, the best bang for your buck. You don't want to buy too little radio, then have buyer's remorse. You don't want to buy so much radio, you don't know what to do with it. So, you know, you've got to find that happy medium somewhere and find the right radio for you. Anyway, enough of my preaching. Scrolling down, I go into base units, and we talk about the different base units that are on, you know, that are available, and it shows you the current pricing as of this month. And I have links to all of the online retailers to buy new. And down here on QRZ and QTH, these are both links that will take you to swap meet type things where you can buy used equipment. Sometimes you can find some really good deals on some really good used equipment without breaking the bank. So keep that as a consideration when you're buying your first radio. Moving on. I also have set up a section called Ham Radio Tips with a subsection called Ham Radio Glossary of Terms and What Can You Do with Ham Radio. So under Ham Radio Tips, and this is probably the last three I'm going to show you here because everything else is kind of self-explanatory. Ham Radio Tips, I have the Ham Radio Cheat Sheet, a desktop version and a printer-friendly version. Won't suck up all the ink out of your printer. So if you want to check these out, they're both PDF formats, and it just gives you some general information. You can take them out, print them up, stick them on your wall, keep it on your computer as a reference sheet. But these will help you out with understanding a couple little things in ham radio at a glance without having to go look up in a big book or whatever. The first section here is on ham radio best practices and basically ham radio etiquette. And I wanted to write this in a way where it makes sense and based on the interactions that I've had with people on the radio the past couple months that I've been on, going to our local ham radio club net. These are things, these interactions that I've had with these people and how I hear people speaking and talking on the radio. So I think it's safe to say that if you follow a lot of these guidelines and, you know, keep it positive, you know, keep it upbeat, avoid talking about certain subjects, you know, people are on here to have a good time with this. And you're going to meet a lot of really good people that are going to have a lot of great advice and years of knowledge in ham radio. So it's well worth checking out. Scrolling down, I did put up the standard, this is the U.S. amateur radio bands, which you can get off the ARRL website, or you can get on, and if you buy any of the ARRL books, I can never say that name, you can go on there and check out these things as well. But it basically gives you a rundown of all the different bands that are available and what classes are able to transmit and utilize each of these bands. Down below, I have just a simple thing explaining from 70 centimeter up to 160 meters what the actual frequencies are on each of those channels. Going from there, we have the ham radio glossary. And look, the ham radio glossary, it could easily take up like 160 pages. I wanted to put in the main ones. I'll add more as time goes on. This is going to be an ongoing project for me. This will be an ongoing project, and I'll put in more stuff as I get more information, as I look up more things. But the stuff that I'm hearing most of the time on the radio between my contacts with other hams on the air, this is what I'm hearing from them. So I wanted to give you guys kind of a basic idea of what the term is, what the meaning is, and what the general usage is for that term. These are good to learn, and as you use your radio, if you get on with it, if you find a net, if your local ham radio club has a net, either daily or weekly or monthly, get on there, fire up your radio, just listen for the first time if you want to. You don't have to jump into it. I was so excited about getting my license. I'm like, KI5 NPL, I'm here. So I got on there, and they're cool about it. They know you're enthusiastic about getting on the air, and they're going to help you out. They're not going to chastise you about any of it. But just, you know, look through some of this stuff, try to make it part of your lingo when you're on the radio. So that's just it. That's it for this. There's just, you know, a couple few terms here for you to check out. And the final thing is, what can you do with ham radio? And this is that rabbit hole I was telling you about. With ham radio, there is a lot you can do. And I don't think this is even all of it. This is just all the stuff that I could find. And some of them have links going to things, and some are going to be more localized. Like if you want to get into the races involvement, you're going to have to go search for your local races affiliate to sign up for that and go take the classes and get involved with that. But you know, there's conventions, you have field day, You have all these different things you can do within the ham radio world that's available to you. And you'll find things you like and you'll find things you don't like. It's okay. This is your hobby. This is something for you to figure out. So I'm just giving you the primers of here's what you can do. It's up to you to decide what it is you actually want to do. So moving on, I wanted to talk about, so we talked about the cheat sheet. We talked about getting a radio, getting on the air. As far as deciding which type of radio to get, do some research, check out the radios that I've got on here. Call up Ham Radio Outlet, call up Gigaparts, call up any of these guys that do have these retail outlets and talk to them. They'll be more than willing to help you out. Getting on the net and getting with the local club. If you don't know how to find a local club, and again, this link will be down in the below the video here. You can go to ARRL.org /find a club, and you type in. I talked about this, I think, briefly before. You put in just basic information over here and hit the search button, and any clubs that are in your area or around you will pop up here, and we'll have a link to their site. Now, obviously, if you went and took the ham radio test recently, your technician, general, or amateur extra, you most likely went to an affiliate club that actually administered the test. So if you were there, hopefully, I would hope that these guys, the VEs and other people there administering the tests, would have given you some information saying, hey, here's our club, by the way. If you want to join, check it out, blah, blah, blah. I know our club is very active with this. They really, really want to get people involved, and they're willing to help you out. So when I went the first time, like, oh, here's some paper, or here's your test, and oh, by the way, here's our monthly newsletter, and here's a special offer if you want to join the club today. It was fantastic. I didn't join the first times. I didn't really know where I was going with this, but after I took my general, I joined up that day, and got the newsletter and everything. And I've been talking to them on the radio for quite a while, so it's definitely worth it if you're really new and don't really have an idea of what direction you want to go in. Getting in a club will expose you to a lot of people that have the experience, have equipment you haven't seen. You might even get a chance to play with some of their equipment without having to buy anything. How cool is that, So just see what you want to do and go for it. I mean, joining a club, they're usually not that expensive. You can pay yearly. You can do an endowment fee and never have to pay again. Again, it's really usually not that expensive. But you'll meet some really cool people in there, and I think it's definitely worth doing. Other things you can do in ham radio, we did talk about general tips and etiquette, glossary. So what can you do once you get your call sign? Well, one thing you might want to check out is Echolink, and you can sign up for free. You got to give them proof of your call sign, and they'll get back to you once that's been verified. And Echolink allows you to utilize the internet and your radio to talk to other hams. Really kind of cool. You can read about it all here. Again, links will be down below. Next is going to be the Aries and Races. These are two different services. And the ARRL website will have the best information about that. They'll be able to help you find your local affiliates for that if you want to get involved in it. I don't really have a whole lot more to say on that because I haven't really done a whole lot of research on it, but a lot of people in ham radio talk about it. Some people get involved with it. I believe one of them is getting into like storm. If you're interested in like the storm chaser kind of stuff and being helping with the emergency stuff, that's where this kind of stuff pops in. Amateur emergency services. So a little bit of training involved to get on there. Once you're trained, you get involved with it. You become part of it. It's no little feather in your hat, and you're ready to roll. The last one I wanted to discuss here is DMR, Digital Mobile Radio. And you can sign up here for free and register, get your DMR ID, and that allows you to utilize DMR once you have your authorization from these guys. And, like I said, a lot of this stuff is really fun. You just got to find what it is you want to do in ham radio. So I've given you a lot of stuff to play with here. And, with the new website now, you have a whole bunch of new information you can check out, apps, online apps, upgrading your license, studying for new license, anything you can think of. I've tried to think about that and put that in the site. And I will be adding more to the website as I see the need for it, or find the time, actually. All right, so let's pop back over. So, in closing, I just wanted to say, you know, first off, congratulations for passing your test if you just passed, whether it be technician or one of the higher classes. If you're looking to get into ham radio, you know, feel free to utilize the website and learn about this stuff. You know, get some of those books and start reading. It's really not that difficult to pass your technician, and that opens up a pretty good amount of stuff to you. General obviously opens up more, and extra opens up everything. But, you know, a lot of people go for tech, completely happy with it. I wanted to go up a general because I saw a need, just my own personal need. I wanted to have access to those other HF bands. And of course, it gave me an excuse to buy another radio. You know, do what you're going to do. But either way, you know, no one's going to give you grief about it if you just go to technician and say you stop there. Originally, I got into ham radio because I wanted another bit. I wanted some kind of a survival backup. You know, ham radio is a fantastic way of doing that. We had a storm recently that knocked out the power. And in knocking out the power, it knocked out the cell towers. Couldn't make phone calls. Well, what do? Well, if you're a ham radio operator, you can contact people. So keep that in consideration. Now, granted, you know, when I got out of it, or when I got done with my test and actually got into ham radio, I really found more things I found really fascinating, and just a lot of stuff that caught my attention and caught my interest. And then I went after general. So now I'm just kind of going nuts with it and really having a good time. And I'm still learning. I mean, you're never going to stop learning in this hobby. There's always something new to learn. There's always some new piece of technology or some new way of doing this. Someone's going to find this new way of building this antenna, or, you know, there's tons of stuff you can get into. You just have to find what you're comfortable with and find out what's going to make you happy and keep you involved in the hobby. And I think that will serve you the best. Anyway, guys, this is Ham Radio for Non-Techies. Until next time, have a great day, be safe, and 73.